Steelers on the lake, with a word to say. Shane Strong, Cody Tanner, host on the mic. About to dive in deep, keep it live, that's right.
Backstage.
I don't know where you're backstage, but I am live now, Nick.
Doesn't show me anything. This is not backstage. Hang on.
Yeah, it should show me in the bottom if you were there.
Yeah, I think I need a new link. Hang on, I got it. Yes, copy.
Pittsburgh's up. Pick is in. Awesome. And Cody's in. I don't know. I don't know where Nick is.
I sent him the link. I'm just waiting for him to load it up.
All right.
There he is.
So pick is in for Pittsburgh.
Here we go,
Question is,
boys.
do they go quarterback here? The possibility is there. Shedeur Sanders is still there. For all the people that wanted Pittsburgh to take Shedeur Sanders in the first round, 32 GMs said don't do it. Twice. Could it be Josh Farmer?
Caleb Johnson, running back out of Iowa.
Okay.
Why?
Black and gold.
No.
No, I mean, Pittsburgh wanted a running back. They made that perfectly clear.
Scatterbo was there.
Yeah, but
So is DJ Giddens, who's also faster than Caleb Johnson. He's going to be more of the patient back.
yep, Caleb was one of the few backs in this class that was not known for his speed, but is an extremely hard runner.
Yeah.
So more the mold of Najee Harris, and even before him, with James Conner, that kind of back. But faster than both of those guys. He's not as slow as Najee was. He's not as slow as Conner was.
And as long as he boasts the same vision that Najee was supposed to have, but actually can implement it, because Najee had that for a while, but then it was like for his rookie year and then a little bit into his sophomore season, and then he kind of lost a little bit of that edge. And I don't know if that was due to the decline in the line play or what, but now that the line's been bolstered with some young, fresh talent and they're sort of coming into their own, hopefully we'll see Caleb Johnson take off here. And he fell. He was not supposed to go this late.
No,
James,
no.
I know you're watching the TV. I do have highlights up on the screen for us as well.
Yeah, I see that. That's excellent. Yeah. So, hey, Caleb's the pick. This is going to be the probably the heir apparent to Jalen if he doesn't get a contract extension, and he'll be your short yardage guy. He'll be your goal line guy. And Jalen is not going to have to carry the brunt.
Yeah, he seems to have some really solid vision in these highlights you're showing here, Cody.
Yeah, great vision, great cutback ability as well. And I'm not going to lie, I've never seen his highlights. He has very good center of gravity. He's bouncing off hits and
the contact balance is what you're describing there, Cody, and that's such an important thing for running backs to be able to survive that contact and stay on your feet. He definitely has that quality. So,
when you say he wasn't known to be one of the faster guys, but again, I mean, even this clip right here shows a lot of breakaway speed. Obviously, we don't know how fast these guys are. College is a different level, different speed, but
yeah. I mean, we're talking about 4.57 40-yard dash. So he's not slow. He's not slow. He's just decent speed. He's okay speed for a running back. But if we're talking about what we're used to with Najee and James Conner, Conner was a 4.66 40. Najee never ran one But if he did, I'm betting he would have been 4.66 or slower.
Yeah.
So
This
he's
shows
gonna
you the
be faster
vision,
than both those guys.
vision, and the contact balance, spin ability. Love that.
And I'm enjoying watching some of his tape because I hadn't been watching any of it because he wasn't falling to these third round picks when I was doing the mocks. He would go early round 2 or even in some earlier instances late round 1. So seeing him fall to us at 83 is awesome, if you ask me.
Yeah, I agree, Nick. That's great value for the quality of running back that he is. So as far as talking about getting good value, here they are again getting really good value in the third round. I don't think they're done. I think they're going to try to get back into the third round here. There's some guys available. Josh Farmer, I believe, didn't get picked yet. And there's some edge-type guys that they could be interested in as well, like Savion Jones. I could see them moving up for him. So we'll see what they do here. But they love to have as many picks on the day that they were supposed to originally have. So could still be happening where they trade up to get into back into the third here. I'm just relieved they didn't take Shedeur Sanders because I really don't think that he was all that great.
If he continues to fall, I wouldn't mind a later round flyer on him. But other than that, I don't want that at all. I ran a couple mocks earlier today, and we still had Will Howard sitting there in the 4th, which I know it's not the most pressing need, but I'd like to see a quarterback picked up, whether that's a UDFA after the draft is done, or I know we're kind of counting on Aaron Rodgers here, but if we can get Will Howard in the 4th or the 5th, I'd love to take a shot at him. He really impressed me in the John Gruden quarterback videos that were floating around the various socials.
Yeah, we're getting to the right range for me. You know, I wanted, if Pittsburgh was going to take a quarterback, to be 4th round or later, just because any of them that you take in this draft, I didn't see as being a drastic improvement over Mason Rudolph.
I agree.
And it looks like most NFL general managers are agreeing with me based off of who's been picked so far. So here we are late in the 3rd, Shedeur Sanders, who a lot of people had as the number 2 quarterback, still not taken yet. As you mentioned, Will Howard not taken yet. Quinn Ewers not taken yet.
Jalen Milrose still there.
Milrose. Some people said he was going to go in the 1st round. Shoot, he got invited to go to the draft.
Yep.
He was supposed to be there day 1, and we're late day 3, and you're late day 2, and he still hasn't been selected. So,
speaking of Shedeur, I just got a notification that said someone prank called him, telling him he had been drafted.
oh,
That's rough.
yeah. Wonder if they're doing day 2 of that party or what, you know?
Yeah, I don't know.
Sure
I
they'll
know
get something.
they showed Dion a couple times because they're still talking about it. So at least
That was
on ABC.
Pretty extravagant party they threw yesterday for him to not even get drafted.
Well, they said he's ready for whatever comes to pass. So if that is true, he should be doing just fine.
Yeah, 85 picks have passed now, so that's a lot of passing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see, though, man. You know, I think Pittsburgh could definitely go after corner still here. A possible future starter opposite of Joey Porter Jr., a possible slot guy like, say, Upton Stout. I think he's still available out there. Xavier Watts, I believe, hasn't been drafted yet either. A lot of people had him as the number 3 safety in the whole class. So if they like him that much, would they be willing to come up for him to try to pair him and have him as a future starting safety possibly?
And if any of our other AFC North rivals need a safety, which I'm not sure, I haven't processed that. I think the Browns do. There's
What
3
don't the
picks.
Browns need?
That's true. There's 3 picks coming up: Green Bay, Jacksonville, and Houston. Actually, 4. Green Bay, Jacksonville, Houston, and the Rams before the Baltimore Ravens pick again. There's been discussion about George Pickens' trade potentially with Green Bay. I don't think you're trading George for a 3rd at this point, however.
No, because you
No.
might as well just let him go in free agency and get your compensatory pick at that point. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't be interested in it. In Baltimore,
Someone will pay Pickens, and that would be a good pick.
since Baltimore took Malachi Starks in the first, I don't think they'll take a safety now.
Well, then Seattle and the Saints also come up before the Browns do. So
Yeah, and Seattle got Nick Eamon-Wari, so they won't be looking for a safety likely either. So maybe New Orleans needs one.
we got our comment here from Joe. James, when y'all talking Sanders? Hopefully
can-
never.
When are we talking Sanders? We taking Sanders or talking
Hey.
Sanders?
Taking is the question.
Because we've been
Yeah,
talking
and-
Oh,
Sanders all
taking.
night.
Excuse me. You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, and honestly,
As a UDFA, maybe if we're feeling generous.
to me, his projection is very similar to Kenny Pickett, so I'm okay with it in like the 5th round as a backup.
Wasn't Kenny Pickett at first round? Yeah, we stretched for
Correct.
that mother trucker.
Correct,
Hey,
but that's what we got to look at.
Kenny
is,
Pickett could scramble though. Shooter Sanders can't.
Tell me when.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like Shador is not
tell me when,
some
like, the
some
game-
generational athlete. He didn't show that in college. He doesn't have a rocket arm. He's an average 6'1", 212-pound quarterback with
Mhm.
with a weak deep ball where when he throws it deep, the receivers always have to stop and wait for the ball to get there. Like there's no dominating trait for him, and that's a real issue if you want to be a starting quarterback.
He said, as a Giants fan, I'm very, very happy with Dart.
Yeah, that was a good choice, I think, for the Giants. Definitely
A
has
lot of
arm, and I think he's more athletic too.
He's got daddy issues that would follow into the NFL. And you know what this reminded me of? I talked to this with my cousin Zach at the gym today. It gives me that LaMelo and Lamar Ball feeling of like how much he talked up his son.
no, it gives me the Bronny James feeling.
No, that's different. That's different. Shador deserves to be in the NFL, just not this high of a draft pick. Little Bronny did not deserve to be in the NBA.
So is Bronny Shiloh then?
Sure, we'll go with that.
Yeah, baby.
It's not a bad comparison.
There's
But
a-
I'm gonna
James
be
was-
watching you guys. I'm gonna drop off,
Sure.
but I might hop back up here.
James, I know you mentioned some additional corners that are available. There's a guy that I was kind of getting a little more info on later on in this draft cycle. I believe the name is Caleb, like Rainstraw or something like that.
Okay.
I can't. The last name I'm butchering, but he seems to have some of the measurables that could be a late round corner look that we could go if we don't go corner in round 4 or 5.
Yeah, the Tulane kid, 5'11", 197 pounds.
Yeah, that's the guy. Excuse me.
Rainshaw?
Yeah.
ESPN has him ranked as the 11th best corner available.
Let me see what I can find for you. His arms are short. He's 30 3/4 on the arms, but a 4.3 340-yard dash, 1.52 10-yard split, 16 reps on a bench. So he's a physical specimen.
Yeah.
Who's just not super tall, but 5'11" is good enough. And that arm length I don't care for, but you can kind of make up for it a bit with that extreme athleticism.
That's what they were talking about too, was that he had a little bit of a issue with being able to like go up and get it against certain guys, but
Mhm.
he made up for that with his physicality and his ability to recover and to jump balls and things like that. So if he's got to go up and make a catch against a bigger bodied wide receiver, he may not be able to come away with it. And there goes Savignon Williams. Darn.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
liked
he
him a
was
lot.
on one of your mocks, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's the last guy on my mock that could have got me the win here. So at best I can tie you here, James, in our mock drafts. But yeah, I would
There's
have.
plenty left later on in the draft. We were only
Oh
2
yeah.
in.
Oh yeah. Well, I think I had Tyler Shuck going to us in later rounds because he was projected to go later at the time I was drafted.
Yeah.
I think I had Justin Wally. He just went a few picks ago. He was a corner prospect. Savignon Williams I had. So, but yeah, I was more drawn to the physicality of Caleb than really the measurables, but he's fast and strong.
Yeah, and honestly, his only measurable that isn't great is his arm length. And Pittsburgh doesn't always pay attention to that. So that's
Yeah.
not necessarily a disqualifier for a later round guy. Zaw Frazier would be another one to keep in mind.
Absolutely.
He's got the length, the speed, athleticism that you're looking for in a prototype kind of guy. But we'll see what they decide to do. Right now, they're addressing needs for sure.
Yeah.
So
and to your point about Pickens too, if we move on from him and get a compensatory pick, somebody's going to pay him, and he's going to be due a decent chunk of change. So it's going to be a decent compensatory pick that we'll be getting for him as well.
Yeah, you would assume he would get at least that 20 to 25 million, maybe more, at which point you're getting a third-round pick for him. And that's where we're at right now in the draft we're almost to that. Hey, Caleb Brainsaw just went.
Yeah, he just went for the Jags. Man.
All the guys I talk about end up going before we can pick them. It's almost like I have a somewhat decent eye for talent, James.
Yeah, you're doing pretty good this season, buddy. I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
All of my picks have gone by round 3.
Whew. Well, I know I see Josh Farmer still available out there.
I take it back.
Pittsburgh goes.
I take it back. My one pick remaining is Xavier Truss. He's a guard from Georgia.
There you go.
With some offensive line versatility who can kick out to tackle.
Mm-hmm.
So you're telling me there's a chance is what Jaguars pick is in.
Yeah, they aren't they the ones just took your Ransaw guy?
Yeah, they're the next pick.
Oh, they got back-to-back picks.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah, I think this was part of the trade with the Browns earlier on.
Which Browns are coming up in a few picks here. It could be maybe they finally get Shiloh or Shedeur Sanders off the board.
They can take Shiloh. I won't be mad about that.
Yeah, right.
I don't if I was a Browns fan, I wouldn't hate the draft, but I feel like they could have done so much more with what they had so far. And I know they still have a bunch of picks left, but it just seems like they're not making splash plays. They're playing for floor rather than ceiling.
I mean, I'm personally pretty happy with their draft because I feel like there's some pretty major holes in damn near everybody that they picked. The tight end can't block, but he's a really good receiver.
Right.
The defensive tackle they took at the very beginning of the draft is going to be a huge outlier if he's successful because guys that size with that short arms almost never make it in the NFL.
Yep.
And he didn't test well either.
No.
Which shows a bad thing about his work ethic, right?
And it shocked me that he went at 5, especially to the Browns.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everybody had him going really high, but to me, when he showed up measured with short arms and only put up 20 reps on the bench, it was like, what are you doing, man? Have you even been in the weight room?
Right, and that's when you're supposed to be a little bulkier and show up and show off, or if you're gonna run, at least slim down and run and blow us away with your speed or something.
Yeah, that's what didn't make sense. Is he showed up about 20 pounds lighter than what he played at in college, didn't bother to run, benched bad, and his measurables were bad that day too. So I was at that point for me, I was like, I'm all the way out on this guy. He doesn't fit for Pittsburgh at any position on the D-line.
And then I felt like they reached on that linebacker at the beginning of round 2.
Yeah.
Not that he's a bad prospect, but he shouldn't have been basically a first round pick.
Yeah, he was supposed to be 3rd or 4th round. Yeah.
But
running back was a really good pick, though. Judkins is really good.
Yeah. I'm a little sad that the Patriots took Henderson because if he could have slid like he did in the mock that I had Granted, it was earlier on in the cycle. I would have loved to have had him, but I'll take Johnson too because he wasn't supposed to be there when, like, Henderson was supposed to go after Johnson, and Johnson fell to us. So
Welcome back.
Henderson just has that receiving ability and the speed that I was kind of hoping for in a running back we would draft. But I'll take Johnson. Hey, maybe we'll pick up Scatabo in a later round too.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like
Make Cody happy. Rams pick is in.
What are they doing this in alphabetical order? Rams,
I have
Ravens,
been
Seahawks, Saints?
surprised how many tight ends have gone off the board so far.
I mean, this is a pretty strong class for tight ends. So I wasn't super surprised by who went early, but it seems like it's kind of tailed off recently. I think I don't think I've heard a tight end name in a little while now.
Not in a bit, but I was just looking at the Rams' recent picks, and it reminded me how they took Ferguson earlier.
Yeah,
And I was a little shocked by how many tight ends had gone because I wasn't aware of how deep this class was. Because to me, it was
yeah, 6 so far.
to me it was Loveland. Well, it was Warren, Loveland, which surprised me that Loveland went before Warren, and then everybody else was way down. So I did not expect this many to go this early.
yeah. I was hearing more talk more recently that Mason Taylor was going to go high, so that one didn't surprise me just because I've heard about it.
Yeah.
And then some of the other guys just had a pretty good pre-draft process, which helped them out.
Somebody's going to run fast, and it's going to move them up the board, and then they're going to not be a good player in the NFL. Hopefully it's the Browns tight end.
I mean, that's his game. He's a move tight end that doesn't block. So that's a tough translation into the NFL. Cody, you just creeping up there?
Either he muted his mic or he's just being a pretty face for us.
No, he's muted. And he's out. Maybe he didn't realize that I added him on and he didn't want to be. I don't know. He's shaking his head.
Could
No,
be.
he didn't want to be on stage.
Yeah, but I don't think he noticed. He was just hanging out. I actually had a subtitle listed for myself that said "Just a Guy," but because Pittsburgh was up on the clock, I was not about to type it in again before they made the selection. How did the Rams never have a first-round pick? I think they traded it this time during the draft, but
Yeah, they do it almost every year. Oh my God. They just said Dylan Gabriel might go before Shador Sanders. Whew.
drafts Caleb Rourke instead. Still not Shador Sanders. Couple picks left here.
Edge rusher. I'm not real worried about that.
No, me neither. I know they had been saying that they were thinking about taking an edge rusher in round 2, but I was wondering how much of that was just smoke and mirrors.
And honestly, like some of these guys that are listed as edge rushers are a 3-4 defensive end for Pittsburgh.
Right.
So that's something that I could see them doing later on, like Savion Jones or Jared Ivey. There's a couple of these guys that are in that like 6'3" to 6'5", 280 to 285 range with good length that would
Yep.
I would love to see it as a draft pick. because they could easily translate to a 3-4 defensive end who could rush the passer on the inside.
I think Cody might have mentioned him in one of his drafts, and I've picked him up in a number of my, especially more recent ones, because the mock simulator that we use, it updates so that when you do all 7 rounds, it makes the picks happen as they did, and then you get to the point where you're picking again, and then you can make your pick based off of who's left. So, the Ravens pick is in. But I like Patrick Jenkins a lot as a late round defensive tackle pickup to be able to plug in at nose potentially. Emory Jones, offensive tackle for the Ravens.
They're listing him as a guard here. So it looks like they're planning on kicking him inside.
They have him listed as tackle on ABC.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went into the draft as a tackle. They lifted him as a guard.
Yeah. They announced him as a guard, so they're planning on moving him.
How are his measurables? Can we bully him?
That's the thing with this year's offensive line class. A lot of these guys have short arms. So a lot of tackles are expected to kick inside the guard.
6'5", 315.
It's good
Carmen can bully him.
Yeah.
Seahawks got their pick in real quick here too.
Can't imagine that's going to be a QB.
Yeah, it's probably
No.
with footwork and hand placement. So yeah, he can be bullied.
I just can't wait to see Cam Hayward and Derek Harmon on that line. I'm so excited.
Some of these guys I like could end up being available in the 4th. I wouldn't be opposed to a double dip on the D-line in the 4th round to get a guy that could be a running mate for Harmon in the future.
Absolutely. If we could find a decent corner prospect, I don't know who's left other than like Jalal Frazier. I think you mentioned Upton Stout's still available.
Yeah.
Some of those guys I wouldn't mind grabbing in the 4th.
Dorian Strong is available also. He'd be a nice number 2.
Jalen Milroe goes.
Oh yeah, they just picked up the quarterback.
Seattle did?
Yep.
Nice.
Which makes sense. He can develop behind Darnold for a year or two.
That's the thing. Like, with his athletic ability, who's super athletic, he has a really strong arm. There's a possibility of a higher ceiling than what you get with Shador. So,
yeah.
And he's bigger, too. He's almost 6'2", 217. So he's taller and heavier and faster and a stronger arm. And, yeah. So, I get it.
If all the rumors about us getting Rodgers after the draft I've been seeing are true, I do think it would be worthwhile if we can take a flyer at some point on like Will Howard or Riley Leonard to just give him a shot to be either a long-term backup or to learn a little bit from Aaron Rodgers. I wouldn't mind any of that.
Yeah, and I'm all right with them taking a QB. Just, now that they've gone running back in defensive line, if you're going to address any other situations and expect them to be able to contribute on your team, it kind of needs to be with this 4th round pick.
Yeah, so I'd like to see.
You know what I mean? If you pick backup quarterback in the 4th round, you're intending on them never starting for you, basically.
Yeah. I would like corner or safety or pretty much that.
Yeah, for me, the only reason you take a safety at this stage is if you can get your hands on Xavier Watts and you feel like he is as high quality as what some of the draft people say.
Right.
If that's the case, okay, I'm cool with it. Beyond that, then you're looking at somebody who's just going to be your number 5 safety.
That's true. I
Because
keep
your
forgetting that we
starters
picked up
that-
Thornhill and
You got one Thornhill, you got Miles
Yeah.
Killebrew. So taking a late round safety to me doesn't make a lot of sense now that they signed Thornhill.
that makes sense. I keep forgetting we picked him up.
Yeah, and then Ryan Watts would be coming back too. So if you take like a 6th round safety, it's just going to be admitting that you're either not going to keep him or you're not going to keep Ryan Watts.
Yeah.
You're basically making either that rookie obsolete or Ryan Watts obsolete. And
Right.
you have other positions where you don't have a starter.
Right.
Like you don't really necessarily have a starting slot corner. That's an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I like Eccles and I like Beanie Bishop, but we could definitely take a slot corner.
Yeah. If you were to draft a slot corner in the 4th round, you would expect them to start over either one of those guys easily.
Yeah. Because I think right now, when I looked at the depth chart, Eccles is listed as the starter and Beanie is the backup. Well, Darius Slay is not a slot corner, though, is he? Somebody mentioned, don't
Yeah.
forget Darius Slay.
Yeah, it looks like Cody mentioning that about Darius Slay. And yes, Darius Slay will be starting for Pittsburgh, but I think he'll be starting on the outside opposite of Joey Porter Jr., and he's only on a 1-year deal. And that's why I'm saying they should consider it, because a lot of the corners in this range have potential to be a possible number 2 corner, like a Dorian Strong type, where he needs a year. He needs a year to sit. He needs to play a little bit here and there, and then could start year 2. So if you do that now, you could have a possible starter next year if you move on from Darius Slay. I mean, you could be looking at a situation where you move on from some of these guys that you just signed for the formula, and if they play an additional year, you could be stacking compensatory picks again the following year. Like if you sign Rodgers
Yeah.
to a 1-year deal, and then he goes and plays for someone else the year after, and Slay goes and plays for someone else the year after, we could be talking about 2 high compensatory picks again.
Yeah. Definitely playing the long game here for sure. Like
Yeah.
getting high quality guys that are going to be able to contribute in the interim and potentially contribute by getting us draft capital in the future.
Yeah. Another safety goes to the Saints.
Jonas
Still not
Sanker.
Watts. Still not Watts.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned Strong. Is he still available, Dorian Strong?
Yeah. Yeah, he's
I would not mind that at all with pick in
Yeah.
a 4th round pick, because he was projected to be potentially a 2nd round pick. I think there's just because a lot of the analysis write ups I was seeing from the analysts was saying he's the most boom or bust prospect at corner in this draft, because he's got the potential to. I think that was the one.
Well, right now, he's his 4th best available.
They were saying that he's got the potential and like the measurables and everything, but I think some of the technique was what they were saying was lacking. So if he can, like you said, take that year to learn and grow and develop, especially behind a guy like Slay, that would be an ideal scenario. I think that's the guy. He's out of Virginia Tech.
Virginia, yep.
Yep, I'm pretty sure that was the one.
Yeah, I didn't hear the boom or bust on him like that. What I was hearing from the people I was watching is that his kind of worst case scenario is that he'd be a good number 2. They didn't expect him to really be higher than that. He's kind of like a steady Eddie. So, but yeah, he's not like the speed dude. He's a 4.5 flat guy, but good strength, good size, slightly short on the arms, but overall a good quality player. So the Browns pick is in. We'll see if they were willing to go Shador yet. They've already passed on him like 5 times.
I think this is the last pick of the round?
No.
Got
We
a
still
couple
have
more?
New England, Philly, Minnesota, Vegas twice, San Fran, Atlanta, and Houston.
Okay, quite a bit left there.
Well,
The last one I cared about because it was in our division.
Fair.
But hey, if we trade back up in, I'll have something else to care about.
Yeah.
Technically, the round ends in 3, but we have 6 additional.
Yeah. The compensatory picks start this round, so that's why there's so many.
That makes sense. The 5-minute timer is nice, though. It definitely kind of moves things along a bit more.
Oh, I have to. It's way too long otherwise.
Yeah.
I think it make it faster. Like, make it 2. If you're going to do a trade, they'll give you 5. You know?
Yeah.
But, I mean, seriously, by the 3rd round, you should know who you want.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shouldn't really be any questions.
Well, especially with some of the earlier ones where it's like they had all night to think about it, and there's, 2 or 3 guys before them that are maybe going to take the guy you want, probably not because they have different needs. So it's like you should be running those picks in early in the 2nd round.
Yeah.
Well, like me and James were just talking about, I mean, everybody has their 30 that comes visit, but you actually put up a board your top 100, and like
Yep.
you should still know who the heck your number 1 choice is when your pick comes up. You know, it's just like process of elimination that everybody else does.
Absolutely. Well, and they've got like teams of people there, so it's not like you're just the GM and the head coach there. You've got your scouts, you've got your assistant GMs, you've got all these people there running like the numbers and reviewing the tape, and you've got like people who like their whole job was to go out and look at these guys. So you figure that even if the people putting in the final decision don't have a guy in mind, they've got the people there to advise them to get the guy up quickly. But I understand sometimes they're fielding potential trade offers and stuff, so that can play into it. So
Absolutely. And that's what makes it take so doggone long. All right. Pick
Dylan
Sanders.
Gabriel, not Shador Sanders.
Oh, that's funny.
He went before Shador. Who said it? They called it.
I am so glad they did that. That's fantastic.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Same old brownies, James. Same old brownies.
It's like every pick I'm like, wow, I don't really care for that guy.
The other thing, too, is like I've seen a couple times where they'll cut to the Browns' war room,
Yeah.
and they just do not look happy. And I'm like, well, neither would I with the picks you're making.
Yeah. Like, I didn't watch a lot of him while he was in the pros or in college, but I watched the Senior Bowl, and he was atrocious in the Senior Bowl.
This guy.
Like, yeah, he was awful. He bailed on the pocket over and over. His throws were incredibly inaccurate, and it was just like, I don't know how he's starting in this game. Clearly, he had some very good college performances, or it wouldn't have happened. But he's really small, and yeah, I'm seeing him in the highlights that they're showing here, basically rolling out on every single play. He's not staying in the pocket, which
Yeah.
matches up with what happened in the Senior Bowl. He bailed on the pocket over and over, and that only works if it's schemed up that way.
Right.
Didn't work in the Senior Bowl at all. He kept on scrambling right into pressure.
And you can see he's not right. He's the lefty.
It's a lefty. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not going to work against TJ and Alex Highsmith and
No.
guys we've got. But who knows? Maybe they'll roll him out there. Joe Flacco.
Uh-oh. I think we lost Nick. He went black screen on us. So I think this is going to about wrap up the coverage. If Pittsburgh trades back into the 4th round, I will jump back on here and we'll talk about the pick. But otherwise, I will be back on tomorrow. Might have some Cody and Nick action if they are available. But we'll make sure we get you some more coverage. And then our next show Sunday morning to wrap up the entire draft class. and talk about the new Pittsburgh Steelers. So thank you all for joining us who did. And Joey, appreciate all the comments and questions. And you all have a wonderful evening.